Hello, my name is Kelly Doyle Bailey, and I'm the Social Emotional Learning Specialist for the Maine Department of Education. I'd like to welcome you to your 2021 Fall Virtual MADSEC Conference and to express my sincere gratitude for this invitation to kick off your programming, and to also let you know that I am very sorry that I'm not able to be there in person, whatever that means, to collaborate with you and to be there in real time. If anyone of you know me, and some of you may have seen me in the past present at MADSEC over the past 10 or so years, then you know that my heart lies squarely in special education. I've spent the last 30 plus years advocating for Maine youth within my private practice, co-founding the Children's Collaboration Center with my good friend and business partner, Marissa Kelly, working with children birth to 20, really, who presented with many global developmental needs, occupational therapy, speech therapy, anxiety, and really the past 10 years working with Karen Brackett Etheridge as her contracted speech language pathologist. And Karen, if you're out there, I'd like to extend my most sincere gratitude to you for taking a chance on me, bringing in some brain-based mindfulness and social emotional learning work in our special education, and for the opportunity that you provided to me several years ago to be a speaker here. I remember very vividly being in one of your staff meetings, and you had a piece of paper in your hand, and I didn't even know what MADSEC was, and you invited anyone in your staff to consider putting together a workshop that we could bring to MADSEC. And I remember at the time that I was working very intricately with and collaboratively with our special education intervention team, occupational therapists and speech therapists and developmental and PT, and our educational psychological evaluators, an amazing team down there at RSU 40. And I had specialized in responsive and reactive learners, primarily because of my two children, Doyle and Hannah, who were born very differently, had very different outcomes from the birth experience, and really led me on a different path with regard to who I am as a clinician. And Karen would often say, here is this person, she does this, she specializes in this, and here's this person on my staff, and that person specializes in this, and here's Kelly Bailey, and she specializes in a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not really sure exactly what she does, but she does it really well. And so Karen, if you're listening, and you've become such a good friend of mine, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to stand completely scared in front of a bunch of people in live person, to share what I knew about responsive and reactive learners, and to start to bring forward an understanding of what happens in the stress brain and what happens in our body and our hearts when we are flipping our lid. That work led me to mindfulness. It led me to social emotional learning, and ultimately led me to leaving in 2019 my work at Warren Community School and my collaboration with Karen and that wonderful staff to become the SEL specialist. I had no way of knowing that my second time of coming into MADSEC a few years after that first experience would provide this opportunity and this road for me to explore what's next and what's further for me in my profession. I loved being a speech language pathologist, and I loved working in schools and in my clinic, but I also felt that there was something more for me. I remember Karen allowed us, really encouraged our intervention team to come up with a very unique response to intervention model. And we worked with all of our kindergarten students and first and second grade students to really look at them from a neurodevelopmental sequential place. And we started putting into space and place bilateral integration first, eye teaming, really looking at kids from their neurodevelopmental sequences, and waiting a bit before we put letters and words in front of them. And it caught on, part of that work was also to teach kids how to breathe. I was learning to become a mindfulness instructor, and it landed me at Tufts, and I did this wonderful program there, which then also sent me on to the path of social emotional learning later. And I just received my certification through Rutgers University just a couple years ago, having no understanding that at some point Commissioner Macon would be our commissioner and would have a job at the state. I just didn't know. But the interesting piece is that we just don't know, and we never know who we're going to come into contact with in any given day. That second time that I came to MADSEC, I came with our team, and Karen was sitting at the round table, and Sandra MacArthur was your keynote. And Sandra, if you're sitting in the audience, I want to thank you, because you were standing at the podium at the front, and I was scribbling, because that's what I would do last minute. I was scribbling and trying to recreate my part of my presentation. And you were there because you were not meant to be the keynote. The keynote that day was sick. And you got up there and you started talking about your Spark program at the University of Maine at Farmington. And you kind of stopped in the middle of your speech talking about the shortages of special education teachers across the state. And you stopped, you just stopped. And you said, I just have to say, I don't know who might be out there. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I need to put this out there. I need an adjunct instructor. I need somebody who will come and teach the topics of speech and language delays, disorders, and development. And my colleagues were hitting me and saying, well, they were jostling me, saying, pay attention, you should do that. I don't want to do that. There's no way I'm going to do that. And I kept going and going. And Sandra just said, if you're out there, if you're sitting in this audience, please contact me. Let me know. And I wasn't giving it any attention at all. But it must have, she planted a seed. And I think that's the thing that at special education educators, curriculum coordinators, directors do. You plant seeds and you support. That seed would end up growing. I would end up contacting Sandra MacArthur, and ultimately I did teach that course for Farmington a few semesters. During that time, I started implementing in my teaching mindfulness for education. Mindfulness was part of what I did as a speech language pathologist. I helped my students understand their body and their brain and their thoughts and their feelings. And before we started any practice, any session at all, I would do some deep breathing on purpose. I had no idea back then that all that work and all of my interest in mindfulness again would lead me to become a mindfulness instructor, or to pitch a special topics to Sandra MacArthur, who's always interested in something new. And we did. We put together a mindfulness in education for graduate students, and the course ran for a couple of semesters. But it was just enough momentum for me to start thinking about things on purpose and how we approach our students and how we approach one another. I started really understanding the power of present moment awareness. And I started understanding how important it is for us as educators in our school to be looking at the climate and the culture of our schools as possibilities for children to feel safe and connected and noticed, represented, valued, loved. And we know that children don't care what we know until they know we care. And so we started really putting that into practice at Warren Community School in an RSC 40 at large, and it caught wind. And it was so amazing to see the change and the turnaround in some of the students, especially our special education students. I remember one little person in our day treatment program. She was in second grade, and she flipped her lid all the time. And at that time, I was really doing a lot of work in Dr. Dan Siegel's hand-brain model, meaning this is Dr. Dan's model of the brain. And he would say, this is your prefrontal cortex, your critical thinking brain, where all big learning takes place. And you can only use it optimally when you feel safe and connected and regulated. And it means that we have to be regulated as educators and people who are working with children, especially our dysregulated students, because if we're a little off our game, then those students are going to be more off. They're already coming in a little overwhelmed or a little upset or a little angry or a little hypervigilant, just a little bit in survival or maybe full on, and they flip their lid. And the only thing that children can do, and adults, when we flip our lid, is to react. We either fight with our words or our body. We want to run away, flight. We exit, seek. We elope. We freeze. We forget about it, or we submit. So I started really teaching these concepts to kids in classrooms, and I will never forget this little girl. She just really started figuring out agency over her breathing. And she would say, Mrs. Bailey, hold on. I'm flipping my lid. I need a second. I just need a second to breathe. And she would advocate for herself. And this was a little girl who would exit, seek, and elope, and did not spend a lot of time with participation and engagement because her behaviors and the behaviors that were showing us something was saying, I'm not ready to learn. And so that kind of led to the next thing that I developed, and that is to become the founder of Calm Cool Kids Educate. And I am so excited to share with you that I have the third book in my Calm Cool Kids Educate book series getting ready to launch in November. It's called Some Days I Breathe on Purpose. And these books have been used across the country. Had no idea when I wrote it, and it sat in a shoebox for almost 3 years, that it would come to life and that it would touch the lives of so many educators and parents. So I just want to say, never ever underestimate planting seeds, never underestimate what you're doing with your life, and never underestimate the power of breathing. It can't change the world, but it can change your concept of who you are in the world in that one still moment in time. And we spend so much time in this state of automaticity and anxiety. And I remember walking around with shoulders up by my ears and maybe just not doing the really obnoxiously obvious things for self-care. And nobody likes to hear those two words, self-care. I don't know if it's two or one. Nobody wants to hear it because nobody has time. But I will say this, we do have time to breathe on purpose. We do have time to just check in with ourselves, to establish a practice and a cultivation of really purposeful, how am I feeling? Where is the feeling living in my body? We can adopt a trauma-informed practice by making sure that we are providing spaces for our children, especially during COVID, especially during this time of absolute uncertainty. Never in the history of education have we had such unprecedented environments of chaos and stress, but Maine educators have risen up and we have said, we're going to do this even if it's hard. And we do, it's the Maine way. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Commissioner Making and our entire Office of School and Student Support and the Department of Education for this opportunity to sit with you and to breathe on purpose. One of the things that we did during the shutdown in March of 2020 was Bear Shea, the mental health coordinator for our office. He and I put together emotional behavioral supports for educators. We did it in the morning, first thing, and in the afternoon. Educators from across the state clamored to these these little minor, tiny little times just to hold space for one another, to feel the power of connectedness. There's nothing bigger than when we join forces and we say, we're going to get through this. And we did. One of the things that I do as the SEL specialist for the state is to really help educators and community partners and any stakeholder who are working with youth understand how important it is for us to cultivate our own emotional intelligence. We were all once upon a time little children, and we know just by statistics that ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, are real, and that any one of us sitting here could be a person who is carrying an ACE score of 3 or higher. We don't outgrow trauma. We just learn to lean in and to trust people who care about us to help us get through. When crisis is here, and it is, and when we have uncertainty that is perpetual, it can kick up a lot of stuff in us. So it's important for us as adults not to forget that. I don't want to sit here as the SEL person for the state and say that you just have to have more resilience and you have to put your head down and you have to power through, because we know that mind and brain science does not support that. As human beings, we are not meant to constantly strive and strive and strive. We're supposed to be thriving, and it is very difficult to do that during a worldwide pandemic. So one of the things that I would like to do as your keynote today is to just give you an invitation to become unbusy. I don't want to provide a whole bunch of lectures and a whole bunch of offerings to you. I want to give you a space to just breathe on purpose. It's what I did during the brain-based supports. We received countless, hundreds and hundreds of people, teachers, ed techs, support staff, custodian, bus drivers, people who would come into those offerings, administrators say, thank you. Thank you for just giving me a minute, because I have not remembered to give myself a minute. So I would like to provide that for us as part of your kickoff, give you an opportunity to really become unbusy and to just hold space for one another. COVID-19 doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. And so we have more to do, but we can't just keep putting our head down and soldiering through and just trying to get by. So if you're out there and you're so inclined, I would invite you to put your pens down or your phones down, close your computer, or just, obviously don't close your computer if we're virtual, but give yourself an opportunity to simply be and to relax. And just notice, as I give you this moment to breathe on purpose, what's happening in your body. Maybe before we start, we could just self-reflect and ask yourself this question. How am I feeling right this moment? And where does that feeling live inside of my body? The first order of emotional intelligence is first being aware that we're having a feeling. Brain science says that 47% of the time that we're awake, we're engaged in a thought, having a memory, or making a plan. While we're doing this exercise, you may notice, for certain you will notice, your mind wandering. Know that it's normal, you're not doing anything wrong, and that it just takes a little bit of practice to become unbusy. Chronic stress is not something that we can sustain. It's not something we can bring to our educators as administrators, and it's not something that educators can bring to their students. In order for our kids to co-regulate, we have to be regulated. And in order for us to regulate, we have to take a few moments each day to take care of ourselves, to breathe on purpose, and to ask ourselves, how are we feeling? And where does the feeling live? Giving ourselves permission to just become unbusy for a few moments. So the offering I have for you is a body scan. So the invitation is, once you have noticed how you feel and where that feeling lives, soften your eyes or let them close. Feel your feet rooted firmly on the ground. Notice your toes. Wiggle them inside your shoes or your socks, or maybe your bare feet like me, barefoot. Just notice what it feels like to have your feet make contact with the fabric or the floor. Notice your body being supported by your chair or couch or wherever you're seated, speech pathologist. And just allow your body to sink in and relax. If you feel safe, closing your eyes really helps you to just move a little bit within yourself. Begin to notice your breath. Breathing in through your nose, if that's comfortable. Purposeful, long, slow breath. Holding just for a second or two on that in-breath, and then exhaling through your mouth long and slow. Just practicing that for a few cycles, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Not trying to control your breathing, not trying to slow it down or quicken, just notice. As you're noticing your breathing, pay attention to the rise and fall of your belly and your chest. With each in-breath, your belly and chest expand, and each out-breath resets and contracts. Just staying right there and practicing noticing what comes up for you. Noticing if you're having a memory, if you're thinking, or if you're planning. Noticing if you're attaching labels or judgments to whatever it is that is surfacing in your mind. And not doing anything with it, just noticing it for a few breaths. Stay anchored with your feet, noticing your body is being supported by your chair. And with the next few breaths, anchor your thoughts or your memories or plans by actually labeling I'm thinking, I'm planning, or I'm remembering. Just being curious about what surfaces for you, calling it what it is. And the next part to anchoring, thinking, remembering, and planning is to bring yourself back to your breathing on purpose. So during this time, as you notice and you label, I'm thinking, I'm planning, or I'm remembering, give yourself gentle permission to come back to present moment, not staying with the thoughts of the memories of the plan, not allowing those things to take you to wherever that thought or memory or plan is going. Anchor yourself to present moment so you can practice being right here, right now on purpose. So with each label you find, say breathing or here or present, whatever word brings you back, just so that the mind can quiet just for a second. So I'm going to shift us to the next part of this invitation to be unbusy by walking us through a body scan. So your only job is to just continue to be present with anchoring your thoughts or memory or plan, bringing yourself back with that anchor word. Each time you notice that your mind wanders, because we do, it's the work of the mind. We have the capability to bring us back, to pay attention on purpose. So practice that as we anchor our feet again, pushing your toes gently and then firmly into the ground and noticing your feet. They've been down there, hanging around right at the very end of your legs this entire time. But we haven't paid any attention on purpose. So just notice your toes. Wiggle them. Maybe just giving them a little bit of gratitude with the rest of the feet for helping you get from place to place, to be the first thing that makes contact with the floor when you swing your legs out of your bed in the morning. Notice your feet, anchoring the mind, staying with your breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Move from your feet to your ankles to your knees, and lastly from your knees to your hips. And gently disengage all muscle tension and allow your legs just to become long and heavy and still. Staying with your breathing. There is no place to go right in this moment and nothing to do. Letting your legs be long and heavy. Move your awareness to your belly or your core. Straighten your spine. And notice again the rise and fall of your belly with each in-breath, expansion, and out-breath, contraction. Notice what your belly is saying to you. The gut, brain, heart connection is real. When our belly is dysregulated or hungry, it's hard to pay attention on purpose. This happens to our children, our students, and us as adults. Notice what your belly is saying. Are you hungry? Are you queasy? Are you okay? Move your awareness through your belly, core, all the way to your heart center. And some people like to find the beat of their own heart. And notice again the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in through your nose. The chest expands, and as you breathe out, the chest contracts. If you can find your heartbeat, sit with it for just a moment. In Kundalini Yoga, this is your Satnam or true self. Sitting with your own heartbeat, allowing yourself recognition that this heart has been beating and keeping us alive without our even having to say anything or do anything. And so maybe just sitting with the heart center, just thinking of the physicality of the heart, giving a small nod of gratitude. Thank you, heart. Thank you for beating, keeping me alive without my awareness, working with all other systems of my body to keep me alive so that I get to do this day, today. Notice your heart as you bring purposeful attention, almost feels as though it leaps out of our chests. If your mind is busy and you're not able to be in this heartfelt sense place, that is okay. For some of us, this is not a normal, typical way to spend our time, but it's an essential way to grow our emotional intelligence, giving ourselves permission to tap into who we are. The heart of it also plays a very unique role in that it helps us feel deeply love for one another, things, our home, all emotions. So thanking the loving, kind heart, the emotion heart. What is your heart saying to you right this moment? Allowing that to stay, feeling the heart center, legs continue to be long and heavy, moving your awareness from your heart to your shoulders, and notice where they're living. Are they up? Are they holding on to tension? Can you give yourself permission to drop them even more? Spine is straight but loose. Chest and belly are rising and falling. Eyes are closed or softly lidded. Feet are anchored. Legs are long and heavy. Releasing any tension from your shoulders all the way to the tips of your fingers. letting your arms hang heavy by your side, disengaged with your legs, remembering in this moment there's no place to go and nothing to do. Giving yourself a moment to be present, calm, centered, grounded. Your body feels heavy and long, almost like a rag doll. Staying in that very long, heavy space, notice your neck. Allow your attention to be near your mouth. Give yourself permission to provide space between your top teeth and your bottom teeth. And let your tongue be quiet and still and disengaged. Many of us hold our tongue at the roof of our mouth or on our teeth. Just let it simply be. And notice what you notice. For some of us, this is very relaxing. For some of us, this is very dysregulating. Just notice without judging, curiosity and interest. Notice how you feel and where that feeling lives inside of your body. Continue to allow your body to be long and heavy. Mouth is disengaged. Jaw is quiet and loose. Notice any tension in your face, your cheeks, around your eyes. Notice your forehead. Can you let any relaxation take place in the furrows of your brow? And allow your attention just to hover a little bit above your hairline. Breathing, expanding, being quiet, being present for yourself, holding space for your colleagues and your friends, giving yourself permission to just simply be. And when you're ready, bring your awareness from the top of your head, again through your facial muscles, your neck and shoulders, keeping the relaxed, elongated muscles, wiggling your fingers as you pass through, down through your neck and shoulders and heart center, again the belly, all the way through your legs until you get to the tips of your toes. And once you're there, allow your wrists to roll. Open your eyes when you're ready by fluttering, maybe stretching, standing, bending. Careful, you might be a little lightheaded. And now ask yourself this question: how do I feel right this moment? And where does that feeling live inside of my body? And is it different? Again, some of us might have found this to be very relaxing and invigorating. Maybe you feel tired, but calm. Some of us may feel that this was not helpful at all, and that's okay. We're just being curious, trying something new if you're not familiar with this practice. I will say that when I first started learning about mindfulness at Tufts University, I thought it was the freakiest thing. I did not know how to be calm and cool and regulated. I was addicted to chaos, and I was addicted to the automaticity of my life. And I didn't know that I didn't feel right if I didn't feel wrong until I knew that there was a different way to feel. And it's just really, really important, because what we convey to our students and our staff when we're in a frenetic or a place of automaticity is not what they need. And it's not what we need to teach our children. So remembering that regulation to co-regulate is at the heart of what we do. We work with some of the most dysregulated students in our special education world. We work with some of the most difficult learners. reactive learners, tricky learners, learners who are always just at that place of lid flipping, or maybe they're full on lid flippers. And when we begin to break this down for them in a very purposeful way and teach them agency, you don't have to flip your lid when you can start to pay attention on purpose to your thoughts and your feelings, and teaching kids and teaching grown-ups that we're so much more than the sum of our emotions. We are not angry people or sad people. We're not even happy people. We feel those things. We feel sad when sad things happen. We feel angry when things make us angry. But know so much that our emotions are going to be fleeting and contingent upon whatever's happening in our environment at any given moment. We are so much more than the sum of our emotions or our mistakes, and we are so much more than the thinking that we have formed and the opinions that we have made about ourselves. And that's what we need to teach our kids. That's what we need to encourage our special education teachers to convey to our kids. Little kids, medium-sized kids, and big kids all need to know that mistakes are beautiful opportunities to learn and grow, that we can lean into uncertainty, we can practice being uncomfortable and not let it undo us. And so I hope that this has been a message of hope for you, knowing that the number one thing that drives resilience is hope. And I know it's very difficult to maintain a hopeful attitude when we're in this perpetual place of crisis. And the only way that we can step outside of crisis is if we allow our bodies and our minds and our bellies and our hearts moments, still small moments, multiple times a day to breathe. It's not the magic pill, but it will teach your very neuroplastic brain a new way to thrive in your life, even when crisis is here and uncertainty is here. I can't stress enough how much the Commissioner of Education, our whole department, counts on administrators and educators and support staff to be there for our kids. And we keep doing it. We keep showing up. You keep showing up every single day, even though it's hard, even though it seems daunting at times. I wanted to just leave you with this one YouTube video that I found that kind of just sums it all up. What the world would be like without educators from the mouths of children. So give me a moment to bring this up for you, and hopefully you can hear it and see it. Because I'm recording this, it's very difficult to know. I will share the sound, optimize the video clip. Let's see if this works. This is called A Life Without Teachers. And I'm going to try to make it big for you.
What would life be like without teachers?
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I'm gonna need.
Yeah, take your time.
Life would.
Life wouldn't be the same, actually. Teachers are the people that tell us to move forward, to teach us education that's very important. Yeah, you could learn stuff from the streets, but you won't know what's right or wrong.
There would not be a guide for success. It would just be us running around trying to find it.
Probably be terrible because nobody would learn.
I think life would be pretty bland because teachers are the ones that, they teach us new things. They give us opportunities to find things out ourselves that we don't understand or don't know yet.
Nobody would be very smart. There would be a lot of world problems because people would not know what to do.
I don't know how I would get through my day without teachers. They encourage me all the time.
I couldn't imagine what what it would be like without schools or teachers or any public education, because we wouldn't learn anything. We would be making the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Public education provides, it provides everybody with a chance, a fair shot to get what they need to succeed in life.
I feel like life wouldn't be fair for people who may not have the best deck of cards in life.
I wouldn't know discipline. I wouldn't know responsibility. I wouldn't know how to think and how to critically think and how to be me. I feel like there would be a decrease in a lot of dreamers, as in they don't know what they want to do with their lives.
Teachers, honestly, they're amazing people. They dedicate their lives to teaching and just loving and inspiring kids to be whatever they want to be.
Without teachers, we'd lose our opportunities for leadership. Many people don't have someone at home that they can see as a leader, and teachers every day usually strive to become the leaders that are needed in our lives.
I've had teachers who tell me to chase my dreams, follow my dreams, find my passions, and dig deep into them. And that definitely has affected me as a student.
A life without teachers would be meaningless to me, because teachers have crafted me into the person that I am today.
So I did not like school. I'll be honest with you, school was not for me. I skipped, I walked out, I tried to miss school each time. But there's some teachers that kind of make you come to school because it just brightens your day and makes it positive. So sometimes you really do. The only reason you come to school is just to see that teacher.
Miss Bowling, my drill team director, has pushed me every day to do what I love and to be the person that I am today.
Honestly, it's Miss Williams.
Miss McCarty.
Miss Waller, my 11th grade AP US History teacher. 7th and 8th grade English teacher, Miss Bradley.
My favorite teacher is Miss Jerkins.
His name is Mr. Staten.
Miss Cummins, she's the special education teacher.
A teacher who motivates me a lot is Miss Beal.
My 10th grade chemistry teacher, Mr. Brian Delick.
Miss Smith, she's a 9th grade biology teacher.
Miss Levino is my favorite teacher because she motivates me to do my best every day. She makes me laugh all day, and she's just the best teacher of all times.
She's super passionate and she loves her subject.
But it's really just because her passion and her interest.
Her passion for special needs kids has really pushed me to want to major in special education when I'm in college.
In her class, she empowered us to question things, to explore the unknown.
Miss Barth has changed my life because she's taught me how to be a better person.
I guess how you get emotional, is it because she's made a big impact on your life?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I want to give thanks to Miss Payne because without her, I couldn't decide what I was going to do in my life. I want to thank her a lot because I'm going to be the first person from my whole family to go to college. And I set my mind and I'm going to do that goal. So I want to thank you, Miss Payne.
So there you go. Oops, I am going to need to stop this. Sorry. Now you're watching me flip my lid. Stop. Okay. I'm going to have to breathe on purpose because that was a great way to end it. So who was your teacher? Who was the person that instilled passion in you to become a special education director, to become a special education teacher, to work in schools? Every single one of us can sit and remember that person or those people, remembering that out of the mouths of these children, these amazing children, that life without teachers would probably be terrible, that nobody would be very smart. Teachers are honestly awesome people. And if you were like me, when the little girl teared up and she said that teachers taught her to be a better person, I think that's what we have to hang on to. If we need hope, if we need a glimmer of that we're still doing important work, even though it is so hard, it is to remember that these kids, every single kid, even the tricky ones, even the lid flippers, they count on us to be there. They count on us to show up every single day and care, to help them become the first person in their family, to do something great with their lives, to make a difference. And that's what you do every single day. So thank you so much for this opportunity again to be here with you, even in a virtual recorded world. Please don't ever stop knowing how important the seeds that you plant with your educators, with your colleagues, and the trickle down to the seeds that then get conveyed and planted with our children. We just need to keep taking care of ourselves. Thank you so much. I hope that you will have a wonderful conference. And if you would like to know more about emotional intelligence or any part of what I do at the Department of Education, please check out my website. It's Kelly, K-E-L-I-E .Bailey, B-A-I-L-E-Y @Maine, MAINE.gov. May you be well, safe, healthy, and happy. Thank you so much. Bye.